What's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video. Want to highlight a bunch of stuff today, including how to get the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind absolutely free right now. It's only available for free today, so if you're watching this video, you gotta do this ASAP. You can get a free copy over on the Bethesda launcher, so it's not a Steam key, which is a little bit of a bummer. However, considering it's free, I don't think we really have any room to complain, so I'll highlight how you guys can get that. Also, want to give you guys an update that this week is absolutely insane if you are a PC gamer in terms of new game releases. Maybe not all of these games you want to pick them up on day one, but definitely titles to add to your wish list. We've got Generation Zero from Avalanche Studios. We've got the new open world RPG in Outward. We've got Tropico 6, and later this week, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered will also be coming. So an absolutely stacked lineup of new PC games, so I want to highlight all of those games. And lastly, I want to highlight the fact that two of my favorite more recent titles have sold incredibly well, that being Slay the Spire as well as Dead Cells. Slay the Spire was a game that was in early access for quite a while, came out of early access, and it is selling incredibly well, and Dead Cells is doing quite well as well. However, with Dead Cells, I actually would have expected that game to do a little bit better, given the strong reception for the game, but still selling over 1 million copies isn't anything to be upset about. So we'll cover that at the end of this video. First up, I know a lot of you guys are just interested in how to get the free game, so the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind is free right now on PC. This is for the 25th anniversary of Elder Scrolls. Over on Bethesda's website, they highlight how you can do it. First up, you have to create a free Bethesda.net account. If you already have an account, proceed to step 2. Log into your account and redeem the code TES25TH-Morrowind. That'll add Morrowind on your Bethesda.net account, and the game will be applied directly to your Bethesda.net account. If you have not already, please download the launcher. So that all is highlighted directly on the Elder Scrolls page. I'll leave a link to it in the description box down below, but you can get a free copy of the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind right now. This game, if you're familiar with Oblivion and Skyrim, just know that it's a lot more hardcore. It does not hold your hand at all, and honestly, to me, the game is a little bit off-putting because my first foray with the Elder Scrolls was Skyrim, and then I played Oblivion, and then going back and playing Morrowind. Yeah, it's a little bit jarring. However, it is an incredibly compelling experience, and there is a gigantic modding scene for the game as well. So there's a lot to get invested into. Also, with the Elder Scrolls 25th anniversary, they are having an event schedule. They've got that highlighted on Monday, March 25th. Sales and in-game promotions start. Save up to 50% off the Elder Scrolls titles and add-ons, and see additional offers in-game. ESO Elsewhere Prologue Quest is free for everyone to play, and Elder Scrolls Arena will be streaming from 1 to 2 EDT. They have everything else highlighted as well, and do remember that this is all leading up to PAX East kicking off on Friday, March 29th, and Bethesda will be a big part of that, but for the majority of you guys, just get Morrowind for free. Pretty easy to do so, and it's a compelling RPG. And speaking of which, compelling RPGs is something that we're gonna get tomorrow. Outward is a brand new open world RPG coming from 9 Dot Studios. It's being published by Deep Silver, and it's a pretty interesting game. This is another game that looks to be a more hardcore open world RPG, and that delivers an immersive RPG experience coupled with survival gameplay, offering a deeply rewarding challenge for the most avid of gamers. The highlight about this game is that with a lot of RPGs, they have you play as this overpowered character, as somebody that can become overpowered. In this title, they really highlighted the fact that you are playing as an ordinary adventurer. You'll not only have to hide or defend yourself against threatening creatures, but also brave the hazardous environmental conditions, protect yourself against infectious diseases, make sure you get enough sleep, and stay hydrated. You're gonna embark on perilous expeditions across untamed lands to reach new cities, undertake varied missions, and discover hidden dungeons crawling with formidable enemies. I'm not completely sold on this game quite yet. It does look to be a pretty ambitious experience, but we don't have a track record from 9 Dot Studios that I can really take into, and just generally speaking with Deep Silver published titles, it's not like they are home run after home run, and Deep Silver kind of put me off with everything that they did with Metro Exodus, but let's not go down that rabbit hole right now. Outward is still a pretty interesting game to me, and I will be adding it to my wish list and seeing how the general reception is. Also, here's a game I am super excited for. It is the self-published game coming from one of my favorite studios, an Avalanche Studios, and that is Generation Zero. I believe Generation Zero is Avalanche's first self-published titles. You look at all of the other games they did in the past, Just Cause, Mad Max, those games either being published by Square Enix, published by Warner Brothers, but this game is being published by them directly, and of course Avalanche is also helping out with the release of Rage 2 right now alongside id Software. So they are a very busy studio, but Generation Zero is a very interesting open open world title, a multiplayer open world game. This is a game where I really think it's going to be accentuated and benefited if you are playing with a couple of friends. And the game is set in 1980 Sweden, but obviously it's a little bit of an alternate setting of 1980 Sweden. The local population has disappeared, and hostile machines roam the streets. Explore an open world to unravel the mystery, perfect your fighting strategies, and prepare to strike back. Play alone or together with up to 3 friends as you discover ways to defeat the invaders. And this is a game that seems to have a lot of depth in its gameplay. You're going to be fighting against machines, but all of these machines are not created equally. Some enemies are too powerful to attack head on. That's going to lead you and your friends to adopt more of a stealth tactic by moving silently, exploiting the enemy's senses, and using the environment to your advantage. So that's why I'm saying that I really think this game is going to be accentuated by its cooperative play. There's a lot of strategy to the game, and if you're going in it solo, I don't know, maybe it'll be a good experience, but I think it'll be much better if you are playing with a couple of friends. And again, that 1980s setting is something that they're really trying to drive home. Among the loot, you're gonna find outfits and hairstyles to recreate your favorite 80s style to take on the machines and style. So while it is pretty serious in tone, at the same time, it does have a little bit of a quirkiness to it. So that's pretty interesting as well. As far as the system requirements go, it's not too hard to run. Minimum requirements tout an Intel i5, 8GB of RAM, a GTX 660, and an ATI HD 7870. On the recommended side of things, you're looking at an i7, 16GB of RAM, a GTX 960, or an R9 280. So that's not too bad. In terms of the CPU and RAM requirements, that's pretty high on the recommended side. However, at this point, I recommend the majority of you guys to be getting 16GB of RAM, even in more budget-oriented builds and say a $700 or $800 rig, but 8GB of RAM, as you can see with Gen 0, can still get you by. And the biggest point that I want to drive home about this game, that I always say it's a hard sell to release a $60 game on PC, while this one is being priced at $35, nearly half of what a typical game is priced at. Hey, just with that, Avalanche Studio has already captured my attention, so I think that's a point that I should be driving home. And when you look at the game, it's not like this game is foregoing like a budget or anything like that. Technically speaking, it's at the level of $60 releases, so that's a very interesting point. Both Outward and Generation Zero will be out on March 26th. Couple of games also coming out on March 29th, Tropico 6. Now, this is a franchise I'm not too high on. However, I know a lot of you guys really love Tropico. And Tropico is a franchise that, even though I'm not a fan of, I know of its history and importance to PC gamers, so we are getting Tropico 6 on March 29th. You can pre-order the game on Steam right now, and you can enjoy a 10% off discount. It's $45, so quite expensive. And the game's description touts, in times of political turmoil and social unrest, the people are calling for a visionary leader who will steer the fate of their country with foresight and ingenuity. Prove yourself once again as a feared dictator or a peace-loving statesman on the island of Tropico and shape the fate of your very own banana republic through 4 distinctive eras, face new challenges on the international stage, and always keep the needs of your people in mind. For the first time in the series, manage extensive archipelagos, build bridges to connect your islands, and use new means of transportation and infrastructure. Send your people on raids to steal the wonders of the world, including the Statue of Liberty and the Eiffel Tower. Customize your palace at will and give the election speeches from your balcony to win the favor of your subjects. Game seems pretty modest from a system requirement standpoint. It's touting an AMD FX 8300 or an Intel i5 3000 as recommended. I don't even recall if an i5 3000 is a CPU, but I'm just gonna give them the benefit of the doubt on that one. Maybe they mean like an i5 3000 series CPU. 16GB of RAM is recommended, R9 380 and GTX 960 as the recommended GPU requirements on the minimum side of things. A10 7850K, i3 2000, 8GB of RAM, 7870 or a GTX 750. And lastly, one other release that I did want to highlight real quickly, Assassin's Creed 3 is getting a remastered version. Now, why this is kind of important is that Assassin's Creed 3 was actually kind of a botched port on PC. Wasn't the best performance-wise, and I played this game all the way back when it released back in 2012. Wow, it has been almost 7 years since the release of AC3, kind of dating myself a little bit there. But nonetheless, Assassin's Creed 3 is a pretty good game. It starts off quite slow, but once you get that Assassin's robe, it really gets going, and with the remastered version, you do get all of the DLC, the Tyranny of King Washington, and the entire game of Assassin's Creed Liberation Remastered, which was originally a PlayStation Vita game. It was kind of trash, but hey, you get that as well, and it does tout that you'll be able to play the iconic Assassin's Creed 3 with enhanced graphics, now featuring 4K resolution, new character models, polished environment rendering, and more. The gameplay mechanics have been revamped as well, improving your experience and your immersion. Now, this is being released at $40, so absolutely not. Do not be spending $40 to it. However, if you did check out the Assassin's Creed Odyssey Gold Edition and you got the Season Pass or whatever, it is a part of the Season Pass, so that is something to note. And if you're just getting it as a part of the Season Pass, yeah, it's pretty good to get AC3 remastered as just a part of that. Along with that Season Pass, you got some expansions for AC Odyssey, so that was a pretty good buy, and I do believe they sell the Season Pass standalone for like $30 or $40, and it's been on sale. but then the remastered version is releasing at $40 as well, so that's kind of a head scratcher. Figure it out for yourself, but I did want to highlight that as well. And lastly, I do want to quickly give you guys a heads up that both Slay the Spire and Dead Cells have sold pretty well. Slay the Spire is a game that recently came out of early access, has sold more than 1.5 million copies. I really dug this game, and this was a game that I bought right before the early access period went up, so I ended up getting it on Green Man Gaming for like $9 and change. Now if you want to buy it, it's like $25, so I made out like a bandit with that move, but it's a really cool game. If you guys know me, you know that I dig card games, but how Slay the Spire does it in being a roguelike and adding a lot of interesting mechanics to it, just combining the idea of a card game and a roguelike is so interesting, something that I would have never thought of, but it provides some very interesting gameplay elements. So as you progress, you build your deck as you go, but there's a lot of interesting decisions to be made. Do you take a card, or will that bog down your deck? It's not just about taking every card you see, because it's about getting to the cards you need the quickest possible. It's about using the right items at the right time. So there's a lot of interesting mechanics to Slay the Spire, and it's one of the most addictive experiences in recent memory that I've had on PC. And if you've yet to check it out, I would highly recommend you to do so. At $25, a little bit steep, but I would say that it's absolutely worth that price. And goes to show, it sold over 1.5 million copies. And Dead Cells has also done rather well. It has sold over 1 million copies, and it sold the most on PC. The Switch port came in second, so Dead Cells was another game that I was very high on. A very cool roguelike title, both of these being roguelike games. Dead Cells has some incredible presentation, and it was a game that was a little bit simple when you got going. However, as you play more and more of it, it becomes more and more of an addictive experience. So this game selling over 1 million copies, that honestly to me seems like a little bit of a disappointment. At a service level, if you told me what game was gonna sell more, Slay the Spire or Dead Cells, I would easily say Dead Cells, just based on the general reception of that game. Maybe Slay the Spire just has a bigger streaming element, and I'm not as aware of that. I feel like Dead Cells, though, got a lot of attention, and I'm kind of surprised only sold 1 million. That is still very, very successful, but I thought it would be closer to Slay the Spire in this numbers. Now, I do believe Slay the Spire has been out a little bit longer in terms of it's been available in early access for quite a while, but nonetheless, both games have done rather well, so I'm happy about that. And that's gonna conclude this video. Again, right now, you can get the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind free. It's only gonna be available today, so take advantage of that ASAP. A big week for PC game releases. We've got Outward, Generation Zero, Tropico 6, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, a lot of cool stuff coming this week. And both Slay the Spire and Dead Cells have done incredibly well. 1.5 million for Slay the Spire, and Dead Cells has sold over 1 million copies. That's gonna conclude this video. If you guys have a request for a future video, you can leave that in the comment section down below, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.